Special thanks to Tibipsilus for allowing this story to be shared. Check the description for their details, and now, on to the story. It all happened so fast. We were just minding our business in our little corner of the galaxy, when all of a sudden, a fleet of highly advanced spaceships blot out the sun and congratulate us on our soon-to-be induction into the Great Galactic Alliance. Apparently some sort of automated exploration drone had found Earth, whereupon we were deemed scientifically advanced enough to initiate first contact with. Now, saying that these aliens should have done us some more research beforehand would have been an understatement. After all, not even 5 hours after announcing their arrival and invading humanity's collective personal space, they appeared to have already changed their minds. They powered up their engines, and just as suddenly as they appeared, they blinked out of existence. Only months later, when overzealous alien corporations, fringe governments, and independent explorers decided to come and have a gander at what the initial fleet had apparently dubbed sadomasochistic ketamine monkeys, were we told what had essentially happened. Apparently humanity is slightly more violent, durable, and effectively balls-to-the-wall insane than the galactic average. So upon going through what was essentially humanity's collective browser history, did the ship's AI decide it wanted nothing to do with us. It made peace with its creator and warned its crew, before initiating FTL and factory resetting itself. Personally, I'd wager it was at least partly humanity's unwavering pursuit for the weirdest, most disgusting, and let's face it, just blatantly wrong pornographic material that made it decide to void its own warranty, presumably by bleaching its hard drive with a solar flare. Hell, I, like most young adults, probably made some not insignificant contributions to the data that lead to that poor AI's mental breakdown. Afterwards, the Council of Species declared that we were a species of dangerous sinners, and estimated that it would take quite a while before we could safely be integrated into the larger galactic community, which I'm sure they don't particularly mind all that much. Unfortunately, without support from the Council, we are left virtually defenseless against the wrath of any and all significantly more advanced threats from beyond the stars. Specifically the kind that tends to forego the stale monotony of cold, calculating bureaucracy in favor of excessive daca. Like, for example, the mysterious fleet of what we assumed were pirates and slavers that showed up in front of our doorstep 2 weeks ago. Their demands were very simple, if perhaps somewhat strange. They demanded the surrender of roughly 500 healthy human subjects into their custody, without any funny business. While 500 humans might seem like a suspiciously low and arbitrary number, no amount of cost-risk analysis, alien weaponry, and perhaps even logic can dampen humanity's defiant spirit and neurotic desire to spit in the face of any form of authority. The public's outcry for retaliation and collective stoicism could be witnessed almost immediately. It was inescapable. Theories about this new threat dominated the news. Online message boards and streaming sites were filled with crazy conspiracy theories and hateful rhetoric. What's more, for one beautiful moment in history, politicians from all across the political spectrum stood as one and took a firm stance against sacrificing even a single person. All around the globe, the various nations' representatives held rousing speeches, preaching about unity and solidarity. If push came to shove, humanity would defend itself and never give up, never cower. Some spiritual and political figures even heroically volunteered to lead the charge against these intergalactic invaders if need be. So naturally, me and about 700 other human beings are now cruising through space, stashed in what I'd assume is a cargo hold at ludicrous speeds away from our cradle world, our home, our little blue ball of bullshit and lies. That's right, all y'all fuckers are on my list now. Or at least you would be if I had some crayons, a piece of paper, and a way to get out of these restraints. Tap, 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 tap. Well, I guess it could be worse. I still have my inner monologue and a somewhat shaky grip on reality. That's at least more than I can say about some of these poor bastards. Most likely the powers that be had sought fit to only sacrifice those who, like yours truly, wouldn't be missed. Those acronym-loving bastards wouldn't even let us keep the black bags they used to forcefully jumpstart our undoubtedly soon-to-be successful space modeling careers. Tap, 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 tap. I can't help but let out a deep sigh as the gravity of the situation begins to dawn on me. God, who am I kidding? I'm so screwed. Who knows what they'll do to us? What they'll do to me? I'd almost want to try and escape again. Or at least I would if it weren't for... Tap, 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 tap. Ouch, motherfucker! Quack. I slowly turn my head towards the source of the commotion. You see, as per unusual, I may have slightly bent the truth a little bit. Aside from 700 humans somehow, a rather annoyed, crested duck managed to find itself trapped on board the alien spaceship and has been terrorizing us ever since. As the only unrestrained creature here, that damn menace has been waddling from one side of the cargo bay to the other, and whenever someone makes too much noise, or it just decides, you just weren't on your guard enough, it veers off from its usual path before mercilessly biting you. Tap, 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 tap. Ever since it's made itself known, and that apparently this part of the ship is its territory, we've all collectively decided to sit still and shut the fuck up, rather than risking its unbridled feathery fury. Suddenly a faint cough can be heard from across the room, followed by several quick duck-sized tippy-taps. Quack. Ah, fuck. Seems like it's found itself another hapless victim. Huh. Hey, wait a minute. My eyes fall onto a tiny stray feather, and with its owner distracted, I manage to quickly extend my body just enough to cup it with my chin, before dragging it back towards my chained-up extremities. I don't think it noticed. I remark with a sigh of relief while violently prodding and wiggling the feather into what I assume is a space keyhole. Come on, this always seems so easy in movies. Surely the movie industry would never lie to its faithful customers. Oh my god, I actually did it. With a loud click, the mechanism restraining my hands and feet loosens, as I can't help but try and stifle a gleeful grin. Over the course of the next couple minutes, I try and think of what to do next. The doors are probably locked, and there's a small army of space pirates armed and ready to swap my insides with my outsides. I wonder if violently crying would deter them from aiming at anything vital. Or perhaps they will sense the sheer amount of raw sexual aggression emanating from yours truly, and then they'll have no other choice but to accept me as one of their own. Yeah, that's right. I can do this. I just need to seem confident in charge and... Shish. Right as I'm trying to psych myself up, the door to the cargo bay opens up and one of our captors struts in. Well, what do you know? They turn their head and look me straight in the eyes with a hungry, predatory glint in their eyes. I quickly slump back onto the floor as all my recently acquired confidence seems to dissipate into thin air. Shit. Please ignore me. Please ignore me. I'd only encountered their kind once before when they herded us to what I assume was some sort of med bay, where they implanted us with basic translation chips. Apparently they got a bit handsy with some of the less fortunate captives. As for the nature of our captors, apparently they're called the Galtians. Like us, they were deemed to be too sinful to be safely inducted into the larger galactic community. Their species is apparently very similar to us, minus a couple obvious differences. For one, their noses are slightly arched upwards, and they have very large, pointy ears. Their skin is almost entirely green minus various spots that lack pigment, like the palms of their hands, the inside of their ears, their lips, and the bottom of their feet. These spots tend to be colored a light pink, while their hair and eyes can be any shade of pink or red. They are generally speaking about as tall as the average human being, and behaves as prideful and domineering as their outward appearance might suggest. While most of the Galtians I've so far encountered sounded female, apparently sexual dimorphism is a lot less apparent in their species. With this in mind, I fear I may have successfully concluded peaceful and amicable negotiations through unconventional channels regarding future relations, as well as the possible adoption of alien agricultural techniques. By which I mean that I got catcalled by Chuck from hydroponics, and I was too nervous to do anything but smile and wave. Why hello there though, guy. What's gotten you so fired up? I look up at the source of the high-pitched voice. As I had feared, the 5'5" goblinoid is looming over me with a broad sneer plastered on her face and a sadistic glint in her eyes. With my resolve quickly ebbing away and a faint blush appearing on my cheeks, I practically freeze in place while grasping for words. Listen here, Pinkskin. I've been tasked with dragging one of you hairless primates back with me to research and development for further testing. Perhaps if you behave, we'll loosen your restraints and give you some additional privileges. Doesn't that sound nice? I regard the vomit-colored nuisance with a suspicious stare as I weigh my options. Her offer sounds pretty good, perhaps a little too good. After all, what do I have to lose? It's not like I'm gonna get anywhere by staying down here with the rest of humanity's most eligible bachelors. Well, yes, I think that might be nice. Correct answer, human. Now then, I'm afraid there's one more tiny formality that has to be taken care of. You see, I first have to make sure that you won't try to bite someone or escape. So to prove you're a good boy." She promptly turns around, grabs the back of her shorts and lowers them ever so slightly. "Be sure to give me a big owl smooch on the cheek." "You have to be kidding me?" I ask incredulously, as the goblinoid's partly revealed cheeks sway only mere inches away from my face. The heat and exotic smell radiating from them hits me like a truck as I feel my little Jedi slowly rise and my cheeks redden. Oh, what the hell. God knows I want this, and it'll at least get me away from that sadistic duck. I close my eyes and let my desires guide me, as my face is slowly pulled in the direction of the goblin woman's enthralling crevasse. "Come on! What are you waiting for? Just pucker up and— Ah! What the shit?" Quack, quack. The Galtian lets out a loud shriek and quickly jumps backwards in panic as the white tornado of feathers and rage, aka Mr. Wagaby, bites her in the lower leg. To which my would-be seducer responds by aligning her foot with her attacker and winds up for a kick. Having been shocked out of my lust-fueled stupor, I'm forced to quickly pick a side. Whether it be from an instinctual need to protect the much smaller nuisance, or out of solidarity from one kidnapped earth creature to another. I jump into action, shake of my loosened restraints, and pick up Mr. Wagaby right in time before her foot can connect. Seeing as her shocked expression has already formed back into an angry scowl, and that she's reaching for her pistol, I decide to double down and kick her as hard as I can to cover our escape. She's violently knocked backwards, onto her ass to the visible delight of my newly made friend, as well as my fellow captives. Now that I think about it, I'm pretty sure they're more so delighted by the insinuation that I'm taking Mr. Wagaby with me, as opposed to my last-minute decision to bruise a bitch. With negotiations out of the window, I quickly dash towards the still open door as a loud zap echoes through the cargo bay, and I can feel some sort of laser bolt hit me right in the leg. Ouch, motherfucker! It feels as if someone pressed a hot soldering iron against my thigh, but luckily it's not enough to slow me down. With the Galtian's loud screams fading away behind me, and Mr. Wagaby joyously biting me in the nose, I make my way deeper into the bowels of the ship, in search for a possible escape from my own, less-than-stellar life choices.